Hello creators, how are you guys? It's great to hang out with you again for something that we are going to be doing a little bit different today than we normally do. Normally, I love to hang out with you guys and just do a lot of like talking, diving into topics and subjects that I think you guys would be interested in. But today, I want to do something different. I want to open it up for you guys to jump in here, and we're going to answer a ton of questions. Now, there's a few different ways this is going to work. Number one is that Laura is in the chat here, both on Facebook and YouTube. We're streaming to both places for the first time, and I haven't never done this before, so this will be a little bit crazy for me to try this, keeping up with comments on both sides. But thankfully, I have Laura here to help me. And so Laura is how to GYST. You'll see her in the comments on both Facebook and on YouTube. And she's going to be taking your questions and trying to keep track of all of them and putting them in front of me here so I can hopefully answer as many of them as possible. Now, the kinds of questions that she will be taking are the types of questions that, just to give you a heads up so you can ask good ones, are questions that appeal to a broad number of people. We probably won't be taking questions that are very unique and specific to your situation or your account access or things like that. We want to kind of focus on strategy related questions that could help a lot of people. And so those are the types of questions she'll be pulling in front of me. I don't think we'll be able to get to all of your questions, but we will certainly try to get to as many of them here as possible in the next half hour, 45 minutes or so. And so, yes, there she is in the chat. I'm also recording this for our weekly podcast episode, which this will go up on iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher, Google Play, Spotify, all those places tomorrow. So if you're not already a listener there, you missed one of these live streams, I'd love to have you kind of catch up with that on the podcast. And so I'm going to be doing this podcast a little bit differently too. I'm going to be recording some intros and different things for it here, but that doesn't matter to you guys because you're actually here live. So I'm looking forward to interacting with you guys. One of the things that you may or may not be aware of is that there is a join button below this video. If you're watching this on YouTube, if you're watching on Facebook, there's a link in the description of this video that will let you join. And what that does is, like, this is going to be an opportunity for me to dive in and answer as many questions of yours as possible. But once a month, I do a private, exclusive call-in show for people who are channel members. And that means you get a phone number. I'm going to be live on the channel, but only an unlisted live show for only people who are members can access it. Members on my channel. And then you can, like, pick up a phone, type in, here, I actually got a phone right here in my pocket. You put in like your phone number or my phone number. You call me, and then we get to actually talk to each other on the phone about your question, and other people in the live stream can hear it. Sometimes I bring on guest experts to help answer questions as well. So it's a lot of fun, and that's for those of you guys who are members. Do that once a month. And the next one is coming up. Let me look at my schedule. I think it's scheduled for next week. It is a week from today. So I'll do this stream at 2 p.m. Eastern time. And then when we wrap this one up at 3 p.m. Eastern time is when I get into that private call-in only show with members and get to answer their questions there. So again, just click the join button, get access to tons of exclusive, in-depth length content, like almost like free courses. Instead of me charging for them, I just shoot them as like one long video and put them down there for you guys instead as members of the channel, so you guys can check that out. And so looking forward to doing this, and welcome you people who are watching here on Facebook as well. This will be fun. So let's dive into your questions. Keep asking them in the chat. We'll get through as many of them as possible. And like I said, Laura will be taking them, and we will be going through these for you guys, as many of them as possible. And I'll give preference to those of you guys who are members and super chats and stuff as well, just because I appreciate your support and do my best to support you guys as best as I can as well. First question from Jovenci Vlogs. I'm off to a great start with your names. What thumbnail apps do you guys use? So if you mean like what programs do we use to edit and create our thumbnails, my team, we use pretty much everything is Adobe, part of the Adobe suite. So we edit with Adobe Premiere Pro, and we do motion graphics with Adobe After Effects. We do thumbnails with Final Cut, or not Final Cut, with Photoshop and all those. So pretty much all the production tools. I edit the podcasts episodes with Adobe Audition. So that's what we use for all of those, for all that. Dr. Jazzman1. Hey, Dr. Jazzman. My first question is, what's one advice you can give to creators that really want to pursue a career on YouTube? That is a great question. I love that one. We're getting off to a great start here. So, so those of you guys who are watching in the chat, give your own suggestions to this as well. So Deborah Giroux says she used PicMonkey. Other people are giving their feedback and their ideas as well. So yeah, all of you guys help each other out. This doesn't have to be just me answering questions. So Dr. Jazzman, piece of advice going full-time on YouTube, a career on YouTube, is that you need to think about this as a business. Too many people come to YouTube with like an employee mindset, and they think my job is to make videos for YouTube and their job is to pay me. Which is kind of true, but not really. I mean, I think you should come at this with a bigger business model, which is what value am I delivering to people? Who wants to consume that value? And then how do I deliver that value through my videos and like 1x the value? But then how do I do like 10x that value in a format people are willing to pay for? So, for example, here we're doing Q&A. And I'm giving you guys like 1x the value because you're in a chat and a live stream, and there's, I don't even know how many people are watching right now. Let me look at the analytics. But there's other people watching right now. I got 151 right now. We just got started. That number will continue to grow. And so like you're getting 1x the value. But I offer the same value if you want to sit down and talk with me about your channel in depth for like an hour. You can schedule a consultation with me or with someone from my team, right? That's like probably like 1,000x the value of what we're doing here, but it's in a format people are willing to pay for. Or you're trying to get YouTube education from me, and I sell courses and do video labs and things. So you get the idea, and that doesn't have to be true just for educational channels like mine. It's also true for entertainment channels. You just have to know what the value is. Is it a relational value? A lot of times for those types of channels, those people sell community. And whether through private Facebook groups or it's a different like fan related things or an events, books, there's tons of things. Just be careful not to jump too quickly to like jumping straight to product. You really need to understand what your customer wants and how you're going to deliver that to them, and then you need to do that regularly, consistently, and just make a clear funnel, a clear path for them to take with you. I actually have a full course that goes into this in even more depth. It's called Turn YouTube into Your Career. You can find it at videocreators.com. Just click on courses, I think, and you can find it in there. But I shot that actually at Adobe's headquarters a few years ago, and that is a step-by-step process that I teach and go through with people who are serious about turning YouTube into a career, because it's not just about AdSense revenue. Like for me, I was talking to someone earlier today who asked me how much AdSense from video creators makes up my overall income. Like, it's 1% or something. Like, it's really, really, really low, right? So I know that I have great value to offer, but it's not something that can be sustainable just with AdSense. And so a lot of you guys are in that same boat. You can make, in my case, I make literally 100 times more money doing other things related to this community and to the value I'm providing than I do on YouTube. And you guys need to think that same way. You can go full-time on YouTube much more quickly and make a much more sustainable channel and business that way. So I can talk about that for a while, just because I think so many creators are just kind of trying to go after like AdSense and things like that. So I think we have a couple super chats here on YouTube. Hey pal, have you seen considerable growth from in-niche collabs? Worth the effort? Absolutely, always worth the effort. Thank you for the $5, by the way. Fathering Autism. Yes, absolutely worth it. And the value isn't just from like I'm trying to like extract value from you. I'm only doing a collaboration so that I can get more views and subs from your audience. I found that the main value is like primarily should be about you building a relationship with that other creator. And that even if you don't even get a shout out, even if you don't get a promotion, like I know so many creators who like, I did a collab and then they never published my video, or then they never gave me a shout out either. I only shouted them out, and they get angry. I'm like, well, did you give good value to their audience? If yes, then great. Did you build like a meaningful relationship with the creator? Then yes. And those types of collaborations have like long-term effects and pay off so much more down the road, and you know, or have ongoing collaboration opportunities. The other thing about collabs is they give you a good shot in the arm of like new subscribers and growth really, really quickly. So yes is the answer to that. They are worth your effort and time. Chris GTX videos, thank you for the $5. Tim, you help my channel so much with your tips. Awesome, glad to help. So, oh wow, you guys are asking so many good questions. Oh, we should do these more often. I really, really, really like doing this. All right, okay, let's do this one first. And I can see Laura, my producer, is like, her notes are going crazy in front of me. Sorry, Laura, she's trying her best to keep up with all you guys. So many good questions you guys are asking. So, Love from London. I'll do this one real quick. I love to hire someone to bring in brand partnerships. Is this what your business manager does? And how is the pay structure, commission or salary? No, my business manager just helps with business strategy and kind of keeps everything flowing in the right direction, and helps me stay on top of goals for the year and strategizes a lot of that kind of stuff. She helps manage some of the people on my team. I don't have anyone on my team that brings in brand partnerships. I used to have a guy who was in charge of that, but he had some life change stuff happen, and so he decided he couldn't do that anymore, which is fine. Like, brand deals for me are not a major part of my income either, yeah, it's not a big part of my business model. It's mostly like I just want to create value, and rather than just kind of trying to land deals where I sell other people's stuff, I find it personally far more easier just to make my own stuff to sell that I know is going to serve you guys well, that I know is exactly what you need, that I'm passionate about, that I pour my own blood, sweat, and tears into. I find I sell things differently, like when I talk about it and present it to you guys. And so I just prefer to go that model. I do brand deals, but I don't really seek them out personally. I let other people just kind of come to me, and I do that way. So, Ralph V, hey man, performance from search is drastically different / worse than performance from suggested and browse features, but getting most views from search. Which data do I follow to make tweaks to my content? Oh, great question. So I like the way you're looking at this. You know, like the average view duration of someone who comes from search is a lot lower than someone who's coming from suggested and browse features. So how do I increase the browse features and suggested, even though most of my traffic is coming from search? There's a few things that I would do. Number one, you got to make sure how well are you targeting. Like how consistently, there we go, are you delivering the value to a specific audience that you want to deliver? And then two, I would do more to focus on getting people to watch more of your videos. So like the end screen, don't end it with like, hey guys, hope this was helpful. Hope you enjoyed my videos. Talk to you later. Just like, hey guys, this was helpful, but in this next video, I'd show you how to take it to the next level. Click this video you see on your screen. I'll see you guys in that next video. Get them to watch some more videos, and increasing that viewing session on your content will help boost that the suggested videos and things that and traffic you're getting there. Also, engaging subscribers will tend to give you more watch time. So if you can increase that subscriber base, that will make a big difference as well. And then focusing on making suggested videos to other people's content. Like maybe someone else in your niche is making content that's performing really well. You notice that, and you just want to show up as a suggested video to them. And so you just like, for example, my wife and I saw videos a few years ago now, but we homeschool our kids. We have 7 kids, and we wanted to do a craft with them. You saw this video on YouTube about how to do golf ball paint. And it was like, you take a pan, put a piece of paper in it, and you put like some liquid paint in there, and you put a golf ball in, and you just kind of roll the pan around, and the golf ball rolls around and makes a design on the paper. We didn't have any golf balls, and so we thought, well, we have an acorn, an oak tree of acorns, so we made the same video, but instead it was how to do golf ball paint with acorns, right? So you can see how this is like a suggested video. It's not the same, but it's adding additional value. and that's you could do a lot more of those and just try to get the suggested videos from other people, the views from other people's videos. So, new member, welcome, Geezer Skate Company. Great to have you. Looking forward to seeing you in our private call-in show next week, where we can talk and hang out, as well as all the exclusive in-depth content you get access to. So appreciate you becoming a member. Old Toys Live On. Is there any options / courses available for editing? This is so important, and I'm looking to invest in this area. Yes, there's a bunch of them. So there's 2 ways to edit. One is you can edit just to like put my video together, which is a great way to do it. Kinda, you can get courses on the mechanics of video editing. Like click here, click there. There's lots of tutorials on YouTube. I prefer the tutorial at lynda.com. Not sponsored. That's just the one LYNDA. Their essentials package. Courses are typically very good, and not only speed up the process and editing for me, but made it a lot easier and quicker and faster for me to edit by showing me things I wouldn't have ever known to look for or search for on YouTube. So definitely recommend that. But then there's actually like, how do you put a good story together that people will actually want to watch? And that I would recommend my friend Jeff Bartsch over at Story Greenlight. And just search YouTube for Story Greenlight. That's his channel, and he has a course too about not the mechanics of editing, but how do you craft a good story with your footage. He edits for ABC, NBC, Apple, Universal. If you've watched any unscripted television in the past 10 years, you've seen some of his work. He edits a lot of big shows, American Ninja Warrior. He's edited a season of America's Next Top Model, and doing a lot of big stuff. So he knows how to do that, and you should check that out. So, not sponsored, just to help you out there. Videep Singhal. Hey, I have a comedy channel on YouTube, but freelancer promotion brought a lot of fake subscribers. I have deleted the channel, and the second thing is content was not good. How to proceed with content? Well, I think you answered your question there. You got to have good content, and if you don't know what good content is, watch the video that I just published today on video creators on my channel. YouTube.com/video creators for those of you guys who are listening to the recording, or watching on Facebook. But yeah, so what? We just define good content there, and it's episode 1 of season 2 of how they got 1 million subscribers with Sean McKnight. But I would recommend watching that video, and we dive into more of what good content is and how to do that, and what to look for there. So I think there was another super chat that I missed somewhere. Let's see if I can find it. Okay, there we go. Sabby BK, you're Indian abroad. I'm a funny street interview channel with almost 90,000 subs, but no product. What can I sell? Been long, but I am unable to come up with a product idea. I think that means that you don't yet understand clearly enough what value you're bringing. So if you have a funny street interview channel, you said funny, so you can sell humor. You got to be really darn good at it, and it's hard to do it because it's so subjective. I prefer, in your case, like street interviews about a topic or about a subject, or that tell a certain story that offers value, and do it that way. And I think that is and then just have people just discover that you're funny in the process. Like, oh, this is a channel about street interviews on like a certain story about like how to turn my urban experience, how to get the most of my urban experience. Oh, I'm just making this up. Oh, and it just happens to be funny. I appreciate that, right? So I think trying to sell the humor thing you could do, but you got to be really good at it, and it's hard to do. I prefer to go for more tangible, practical things that you can sell, and but I think that's the problem there, is what you have. Antonio on Facebook, how to go from 2 million to 5 million subs in a month. Hey, Antonio. So Antonio is a guy I worked with and still work with on his channel, and I would love to talk with you about that, Antonio, but the way you do that is to make some really outstanding, amazing content that just goes big and serves your audience well, and that you seed to a lot of places, and you have like a Reddit strategy behind it. Maybe you need a lot to do that. Or you just do a kid channel. Kind of joking, kind of not. But yeah, a lot of those kid channels would do that pretty quick too. If you can nail the toddler audience, there's like hundreds of millions of views available there very consistently. So you can dive into that as well. Okay, let's see here. So Geezer Skate Company, if our click-through rate is high and our audience retention is high, why are there so few impressions? Oh man, there's a lot that we could talk about here, but so there could be several different things, but one of the things is that your audience has a very specific niche, and the audience for it isn't necessarily broad. So as opposed to like a Jimmy Fallon video, which is just like a really broad audience, is for like a lot of people, that's easy for like a lot of people to consume. So something that's very narrow in nature could have a high click-through rate and high audience retention, but maybe there's fewer impressions because of that. Another reason is because maybe it ends the viewing session and it gets people off of YouTube. And YouTube finds out, hey, if we surface this video, people watch, but they don't stay on YouTube. This is like the last video they end up watching. And that could be maybe due to the quality of the content too, which even without the viewing session could be part of it as well. Now your audience retention is high, but you know, let's break that down between subscribers and non-subscribers. Is it high with only subscribers? Or you need it high with non-subscribers too in order to get that up. So there's a few things, but that's probably where I would start looking. Sinister Bunny Videos. Hey Tim, how do you recommend good one, balancing work, full-time classes, and trying to grow a YouTube channel? I'm starting to find it very hard. Yes, love this one. Yes, it is very hard, and I'm not going to beat around the bush in this one and say like a lot of motivational things necessarily, but I hope it's actually helpful and practical for you. And that is, I don't think that we can do everything. You know, like you're trying to do a lot. We got work, you got school and education, you're trying to do a channel, but you also have relationships that are hopefully important to you, and you need to sleep, you need to exercise, like you need to take care of yourself. There's a lot of things you need to do. I personally, and I don't mean to be like discouraging or anything, but I personally don't feel like everyone can do everything. And I say that as someone who can't do everything. I get to do YouTube because it's my job. Like I do this full time, but I started YouTube personally when we only had 2 kids, and I was let go from my job, and I had full-time hours. I had a runway of 6 months to turn this into something full-time, and I did. At the end of 6 months, I went from zero. Actually, when I started Video Creators, and a lot of you guys have heard the story, but I launched it in February 2013, knowing that my job was going to end in June. By the time my job ended, June 15th, 2013, Video Creators was generating $10,000 a month. And so I did that with, like I said before, with an intentional business model around this, not because I had massive views and subscribers. I only had like 3,000 subs at the time. But it's like you can't do everything. If I were to start now, I would do it, but it would be a lot harder for me, not because YouTube has evolved, but because my life has evolved. We have 7 children now. We had 7 kids in 8 years. I have a wife. Obviously I had a wife before, but we homeschool our kids, and I wasn't homeschooling when we first got started because my kids were little. So I have so much more on my plate that I can do YouTube because because it's my full-time gig. But before then I wasn't homeschooling. I only had 2 kids and I didn't have a job. So I was in a different position. So point 1, I guess, is like you can't do everything. Point number 2 is that you have to say no to something. Sometimes YouTube is the thing we have to say no to in order to maintain a healthy life, which I believe is more important than like how much money you're making or how popular your channel is or anything like that. Actually, on my family's channel right now, we're taking a break. We haven't posted anything for a few weeks there just because our family is in a situation personally where some things we just couldn't do everything. Some things fell below the red line, and that was our family's channel is one of those things. So we're just not doing that channel right now. Now, in order to I don't want to be just discouraging though. If you're in a position where you can do a lot of these things all at once, and maybe you're single, you're not married, you don't have kids and things like that, and not that you can't do this with those, but I think give yourself like I did. I had a deadline. I knew 6 months I would not have a job, and I needed something to replace the income, and I knew that I didn't want to go back and become an employee at another company again. So I had 6 months. It was a hard deadline. And so during that time, I told my wife, I was like, this isn't going to last forever, but 6 months, I'm going to be working my butt off. You're probably not going to see me as much as you used to, but do we agree that this is the right thing for our family to do just for this season of life? And we did. And so it was not necessarily a fun season of life, but it was just like 6 months. There's a date on the calendar that this needs to be generating a full-time income for us at this point, or I'm just going to stop and I'm going to go get a real job and do something else. And so I think there is something to be said for intensity for a designated short period of time. The other thing that comes to mind when I say this, you say balancing work. The other thing for us is like, I guess this is kind of ties to my first point actually. It's not, for me, it's not really about balancing. It's more about prioritizing and making sure that the things that are most important to me stay number one, stay first. And I have a hard time doing this, guys. I'm not saying I'm great at this, but my wife and I go on date night every Sunday night. So last night, as of this recording, we were out and talking about some of these things. So like, we've got to put some things, we need to reprioritize some things in our life, because like some of these things that need to be number one are just falling below. And we constantly got to keep revisiting that conversation. So I don't really go for balance. I go more for priorities. And rather than trying to balance things, I try to tip the scales completely in favor of the things that are most worth my time and energy. So that. All right. That was a good question. The Easy JC, how do you generate video ideas when burnt out? If you're burnt out, I would not try to generate more. I would just stop. Usually burnout comes from a few different things. One, you're not making enough money to grow a team and make it sustainable. And two, you're not putting systems in place that generate content for you consistently enough. You're just kind of trying to, each video is like a new video. You're starting all over again from brand new. From scratch. Like for a system for me, for example, is the series How They Got 1 Million Subscribers. I did season 1 with Evan, got season 2 launched today. I just shot season 3 that'll come out in December. But each season is 10 episodes. And so like that system, finding someone who has 1 million subscribers and getting them to agree to sit down with me for about an hour and a half and shoot 10 episodes all in a row, that is how I batch, and like a system that generates content for me. So not making enough money, you don't have good systems in place, or 3, you just have other things going on in your life that need to be more important, or 4, you're just not good at managing your time and you're spending more time watching TV and playing Xbox. And not that those things are bad. I think I do those things. I think they're fine, but I think we need to make sure that we also focus on like sometimes these things just take time, and generating video ideas, that's the non-sexy, grueling grind part that a lot of people they don't see. You just look at your favorite YouTube creators, they think, oh wow, how do they keep coming up with ideas? Well, they actually spend 3 months, like you'll I guess a little spoiler alert for the series, the season 2 right now, Cucur Hairstyles, they went 5 million on 2 channels and almost 2 million on another channel. But they have sit-down content planning sessions where they plan out the next 3 months of content, and they have producers and stuff. So it's just not like, and you look at their channel, like, wow, they keep coming up with good ideas. It was not by accident. There's a lot of work that goes in behind the scenes, but we'll talk more about in that series on my channel. Let's see, SciTech 387. My videos are time consuming because of research and animations. Should I mix up longer and shorter videos so to be able to upload more often? You could, yeah. So we talked about this. I interviewed a guy who used to do animation at DreamWorks Studios, like the movies DreamWorks. And one of the things that we said is, can you find ways to to keep mixing up. So maybe you have like an animated film that just takes a long time, or it's like even 2-minute animation can take like a whole month or 6 weeks to produce if you're just working on it full time. So could you find other content to upload in between, and like behind the scenes and character developments or making ofs? And I know not everyone's equally as interested in those, but maybe there's some other types of content that you can use to fill in that you can upload more often. Now, the goal here, though, isn't necessarily to upload more often. The goal is actually to keep your audience and viewers engaged. And so if you find that the in-between videos is not doing that, then I would just stick with one video a month. You know, one of my favorite channels, Dude Perfect, if you check them out, they got like 30-some million subscribers. They upload every other Monday. So they're doing one video every 2 weeks. And that's a pace that they can keep up with, and that keeps the quality high, and so that's what they do. Other channels upload like once every 6 weeks. Some channels, like if you guys remember Epic Rap Battles of History, they would just do like a 10-episode season, and then they would go dark for another, 8 months or almost a year till they had the next season ready, and then they would produce a trailer that generated a lot of hype and build up to like the launch of season number 2, 3, 4, right? So there's a couple different ways to do it. That's currently the way I'm planning to do a season of creator stories. Each episode is taking me about a month to produce. And so right now I'm doing like how they got 1 million subscribers and my normal kind of like walk and talk teaching type of videos. They don't perform the way I would like for my content to perform. And so I'm working on this creator stories thing, but it's taking me about a year to produce these 10 episodes because it requires travel, includes storyboarding, shot list, hiring a production crew, flying out to the creator, setting up at different scenes and shooting different stuff. Like, it's a big deal. And so I can't do one of those a week. So I'm doing 10, and then I'm going to launch one every week for 10 weeks. And then that'll be it with the trailer and some promotion and things like that. So hopefully that helps. Let's see here. Saucy Sarcasm YouTube tips. Oh, okay. Cool channel name. Love the live stream. Keep up the positive vibes. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. And glad it's helpful for you. And Saucy Sarcasm YouTube tips. That sounds interesting. Just so you know, though, when you spell YouTube, the T gets capitalized as well. So YouTube. And update your channel name. Spell it correctly there. Not spelled correctly, just capitalization. Little tip there. That's no extra cost there for you. I got some new members coming. Pablo Green, love your channel, paid subscriber here. Any tips on funneling viewers in a live stream to subscribe to my mailing list? That's usually the conversion I'm aiming for. Any pro tips are recommended. That's a good question. Let me give you two different. Well, let me answer the question straight up, and then I'll give you maybe a different way of thinking about it. And one is that when you're trying to grow an email list and you're live streaming, if you're doing it on Facebook, that's a little bit outside. Like, I'm live streaming on Facebook right now, and we've gotten 2 comments so far. I am not a very good Facebook. I focus like almost none of my energy on Facebook, in case you can't tell. So I put very little into that there. But on YouTube, you have a link. If you're doing like live streaming in terms of like a webinar or something like that, you can have a link in the description that you send people to, have that call to action for people who are watching to go over to it and check that out. But the way that I do it is typically like I don't really try to get people from my YouTube list over to my email list. I have an email list. I give away free ebooks on there. I give people behind the scenes insights and what I'm doing and what I'm working on and the impact that it's having on my channel and client channels and things. So I do have that email list, and if you're interested in it, there's a link in the show notes or in the description for those of you guys who are listening. It's in the show notes. If you guys are live streaming, it's down there. That will take you to the sign-up page for that ebook. It's called The Secret to Building Your YouTube Audience. But I typically just treat my YouTube channel the way most people treat their email list, which is I have like lead magnets, which I consider my discoverable content. I have community content, which would be like behind-the-scenes vlogs, even live streams like this. I just consider community content. These videos are not intended to go big. They're just intended to grow the know, like, and trust factors, to establish credibility, and to serve the audience the best way that I can. And then I have sales content, which would be like, in your email sequence, this is like you have the lead magnet, this like email sequence that grows in the know, like, and trust factors. And then you get to like the pitch for the sale, which is when I open up video labs and I have events that I'm doing, or a new product or training resource, or even here, like I told you guys how we do our call-in live streams and get access to that other exclusive content and things like that. So I just treat my YouTube channel that way. And I actually didn't even promote the last Video Labs to you guys because it sold out before I even needed to do that. So, which is great for me, but now I know there's a lot of people coming on who have never heard about this Video Labs thing or the consultation sessions that we do. They just sell out without promotion. So, which is great, but I need to figure out ways of probably how to keep that in front of people even when I'm not actively selling it. I'm not really sure what that would look like, but right now, I'm not complaining. Let's see here. New member, or welcome Geezer Skate. Heard you talk about how you hired a business consultant in the past. How do you go about finding a consultant for the business, and what do they normally cost? So the guy that I work with, that I would recommend for you guys, it's a guy named John Herman, and his website is worthyendeavors.com. Not sponsored, just telling you that's who it is. And his price, I think, varies depending on his availability and the project and how well it's like up his alley and things, which, you know, but he's worked with me. He knows a lot about YouTube, and so you could check him out, worthyendeavors.com. But I'll let him give you his pricing. I have found though that consultants and just like video editors, I guess, are worth what you pay them. You know, so if you get a cheap consultant, he's probably not a great business person himself to be following. If you get one who's worth a lot, then you should expect the advice and to be much more tailored and pro for you. And the other thing I found, the more that I pay someone, the more that the more motivated I am to actually implement what he's suggesting and what's being taught. And I find that for me makes a big difference. Like the more I pay, the more likely I am to kind of, you know, actually do what they're saying. So got a few super chats coming in here. Let's see here. Let's see. Kalena, thank you for the super chats. And then we have Cube Studio. Hey Tim, what amount of memberships can we expect when launching the feature on our channel? So for those of you who aren't familiar, there's a feature called Members, which I told you about at the beginning. I have certain perks for people who are members of my channel. You can see who they are even right here in the live chat and on comments on my videos, because like Geezer Skate Company there's got that badge, says new next to his channel there. And different people, depending on how long you've been a member of the channel, you get different badges, and you can kind of see it that way. But what you can expect depends on the value that you're delivering to them. Depends on how dedicated your audience is to you and how much they want to support you. It depends on, mostly depends on the strength of your community more than anything else, I found. But you can also, depends on the pitch and what you're offering them. Little tip though is, I learned this on Patreon the hard way, is don't offer things that you can't scale. Like it has to literally take you the same amount of time for one person as it does 1,000 people. And which I thought I knew, I was doing things that would scale, but even then I knew like my time for doing those things was valuable, and that when I put my time, like it didn't always scale the way I wanted it to. So just keep that in mind. The onboard life. How important is narration? Most of my vids are rather static travel images with vid clips and still shots. Yeah, I mean, if you're saying it's basically like a slideshow, then it's probably not going to be the most valuable way to communicate. Just think like YouTube isn't in need of videos. They have 500 hours or whatever it is now being uploaded every minute. You gotta like put content up that people will respond well to, want to watch. So are you telling a really good story with travel images? Because there's a lot of great videos that tell a great story visually with some simple music in the background. But it sounds like you're doing travel images with video clips and still shots. Like, who is this for and why should they care? What's the value this brings to somebody? And when that type of setup, it sounds to me like the main value, it might perform well for someone who is like wanting to catch up on your latest trip, maybe like a personal friend of yours or something. But if you're just posting the content as is, probably not going to perform as well. So to answer your question, how is important narration? The narration matters because it increases the value that you're delivering. So it's more about like, can you tell a really good story? and I don't mean report on your story, but tell a story through those images and video clips that have value to the viewer. So if you want to see like a good example of maybe what this could look like, you can go check out almost any of the videos on Matt Pat's channel. Drawing a blank on what it's called. What is it called, guys? Help me out. It's Game Theory. Here we go. Check out Game Theory, Film Theory. He's got a few different ones, and you'll see kind of that style of what I mean there. Royal Learning Time. We want to change our daughter's channel over to family vlogs from an unboxing channel. Any suggestions, or is there even a need for more family vloggers? There's certainly a lot of them. Royal Learning Time. Whether or not you make that switch or not is kind of up to you and your family. It depends on what your goals are. You know, if it's because you think that family vlogging gets more views and subscribers and more money, and that's why you want to make the switch, that's not necessarily true. I mean, unboxing kid channels can do very, very, very well. So can vlogging channels. So it depends on why you're making the switch. If it's best for you and your family, or your daughter's growing up and she's not interested in doing unboxings anymore or something, and you want to incorporate the family more, then that would make a lot of sense. Then I'd say yes, you know, just go ahead and make the switch. And whether or not there's a need for it isn't necessarily true. The issue, because there's tons of them out there. It's more like, is that what's best for you, your family, and is that what you want to invest your time into and grow that instead? And I'd say if that's true, then yeah, go for it. We got another one from Inventory King. Tim, changing channel name. Will changing the channel name hurt the channel's growth? Name is not relevant to the content. My concern is changing the name is going to hurt momentum growth. So probably not. Depends on why you're changing. If like you have an older channel and you're kind of switching directions, then yes, update it to reflect the new brand, the new direction that you're going. And whether or not it hurts or not is kind of irrelevant, because you're kind of building something new from this point forward with it. And you're just taking any subscribers you currently have who are interested in that direction, just kind of making it easy for them to come with you, so you don't have to create a new channel and get them all over to the new channel to subscribe. If you think that you need to change the channel name because it doesn't make sense or something, then sure, go ahead and change it. In terms of like harming your channel, the main thing is that people who are dedicated viewers, and this had happened to me before actually, for a channel I was subscribed to, change the channel name, and I just kept missing their videos because I didn't see their channel popping up anymore. It's not because I wasn't subscribed, it was just that they had changed the channel name and I was missing their content because I was looking for a different name. It would be like if you are looking through your subscription feed for video creators, but I changed it to like YouTube's Top Secrets or something, you would be like, what is it? Like, you wouldn't recognize me, and so you would just keep scrolling. That's the main thing there. So if you're changing something permanently, kind of going forward though, then I would say yeah, just go ahead and change it. Salsa lessons with Casa Salsa. Using only YouTube, how do you recommend getting your first 1,000? Where do you share besides Facebook, etc.? I don't actually try to grow outside of YouTube. There is so much untapped potential on YouTube that going through the effort in trying to get someone outside of YouTube to come over and subscribe, to me, it's like a lot of work. It's a lot easier to get people who are already on YouTube to watch your videos and subscribe. So I would recommend it's a haul, it's a journey, but it really comes down to what I mentioned earlier, which is consistently delivering value to a specific audience over time and getting them into your content. So how you do that is good titles, it's good thumbnails, it's connecting the title and the thumbnail with the opening seconds of the video so that that value they clicked for, the expectancy is there, and they stick around, they keep watching. It's about evaluating your audience retention graphs and crafting better content. It's learning how to tell stories better that get people emotionally engaged. It's more about branding in terms of what do you represent and what do you stand for and what do people grow to associate with you and your brand. There's a lot that goes into this besides just learning how to edit a video. Some of these things I would highly recommend you read Business Generation for learning business development. You read A Million Miles in a Thousand Years by Donald Miller to learn storytelling. Then you read Primal Branding by Patrick Hanlon to learn how to create an emotional connection with people in your audience, and that you then apply all those things to your channel. So that's like, it's a lot of, the reason why 1,000 subscribers is so hard isn't necessarily because YouTube's like holding you back if you're a small channel. It's because we as creators have so much to learn. And then once we've learned some of these things that enabled us to get to 1,000 subscribers, then it's easier for more people to jump on board. And that's why like 10,000 subscribers is often easier than the first 1,000 subscribers. There's nothing magical algorithm wise or anything. It's just because we've learned the lessons of how to connect with our audience better. So I could talk about that for a while, but I think you get the point. So good question there. Thank you for asking it. Let's see. Kaylana Designs Tutorials. Tim, most of my views come from related videos. Most of all those related videos are all my own videos. So I'm not really sure how to tweak my production to get more subscribers and views. I'd have to dig into your analytics to kind of give you a better answer. But where I would start is by maybe doing what I suggested earlier, which is like, are there other videos in your niche that are doing well that you could piggyback off of and make content related and suggested to those? It's not a guarantee that they will be. I found that like on average, like 1 in 50 videos that we try to make suggested actually becomes suggested. So it's definitely like a long haul thing, and you definitely got to yeah, it's a persistence thing, but doing that. And then the other thing is evaluate your titles and your thumbnails. Like, are they enticing people to get into them in the first place? You're not going to get a lot of suggested traffic on other people's videos if your titles aren't getting people from someone else's audience over into yours to click and watch. So the title and the thumbnail needs to pitch value to someone who's never heard of you before and doesn't care who you are yet anyway, and we'll just click to get into those. And then the first 15 seconds need to really affirm that value that yes, you're in the right spot, and get them watching. Let's see here. On Facebook, a question from Ollie Olberg. Instead of asking your audience for likes and comments on YouTube, what do you recommend? I want to interact with my viewers, but I don't feel like begging for stuff. Yeah, so I wouldn't beg either. That just sounds like people are like, oh, he's trying too hard. Instead, I would just make content that teases a story that has a natural question built in. And then just ask your audience for feedback or for input. So for example, I'm doing this on my channel. Hey guys, I'm trying to learn how to tell better stories, and this is what I'm learning so far. But number 1, number 2, number 3, this has been like, I found that this isn't working. But what have you guys found that works really well? Like this, I want to learn from you and teach me too. Like I always get good stuff from you guys. You're always super helpful. So, and so the engagement, I think you need to set it up as like there's a point for me responding. If it's just like you're doing something and all of a sudden it's like it's intermittent, like smash the like button and comment below and then keep going, it's probably not going to work nearly as well as you setting up like, oh, I feel like make the viewer feel like they're actually contributing to you and they're giving, like, this is worth their time. Another way to do it is I try to get people to interact with each other actually, and saying that it's more about the community. So I say, let me know what 3 things you guys really help for telling better stories, and read the comments other people are leaving down there because you'll learn a ton from each other. I always do too, right? And I'm just trying to get people to like interact and connect on that level. So you can try that as well. The Family Fudge. Hi Tim, speaking on audience retention, do you know if the higher percentage viewed is more important than a higher watch time? Yeah, like don't focus on one being more important than the other. I would focus instead on how do you get people to the end of your video and then design your end screen so people click and watch another. So both of those speak to watch time and percentage viewed. So if you need to focus on one or the other for some whatever reason, I would focus on the watch time. But then what people end up doing is they try gaming it, and they're like, well, I'm just going to make a 30-minute video because I'll get an average of like 15 minutes of watch time instead of 5 or whatever. And like, Yeah, sure. Okay, good. But at the end of the day, like, you got people to watch for 15 minutes, but then they got bored and left YouTube. So, you ended the viewing session. I would just focus on whatever you have to do to get people to the end. To click and watch another video. At the end of the day, that will always help your video perform much better than focusing on just retention or just watch time or something like that. Hey Kill, my wife just started her channel 4 months ago. She has around 30 subscribers on a fitness weight loss channel. How should she go about getting collabs with smaller channels? Oh, I get it. Okay, yeah. So when you're small, how do you first get started with collabs? There's a lot of different ways to do this. One of my favorites, and it's not the cheapest way, but it's going to events. I was just at Vid Summit this past week. I've been speaking at a different state every week for like this past 7 weeks. So I've been to a lot of these events, and there's always creators there, and it's a great time to interact and to connect and to build relationships with people, even if they don't have your same niche, at least as long as they have your same audience. So if like you're a skateboarding channel, you can still totally collab with someone who maybe has like an energy drinks channel or a gaming channel or something. Like the audience is the same, even if it's different niches, different what's the word I'm looking for? Different value propositions. So going to events is a great place to do it. Another way is just to literally start subscribing to other people who share your target audience and becoming engaged in their communities. Comment on their videos and interact with them. Respond to their tweets. Talk about their content in your videos. Not because you're hoping for a shout out or them to reciprocate, but just because this is good information. We got to support each other, right? And getting that information out, and then reaching out to them and say, hey, I talked about you in my video. I really love what you had to say in that, so I just wanted to let you know I gave you a shout out. Thanks so much. And just start building like relationships. There's a lot of Facebook groups as well that you could join, meet other creators to collaborate. But again, like the point of collaboration, in my opinion, the best ones that work for like multiple collaborations in the long term are not just the one-off ones like, hey, can you promote me if I promote you, which is basically like a sub for sub type of thing, but instead, can we build a relationship where we kind of like enjoy hanging out together and we enjoy learning from each other and we have like this good relationship? That's what I'd focus on. Oh my gosh, so many good questions. We're up to like, I still have 4 pages of them to go. Let's do a few more. Random L. If I have a channel that I basically abandoned but I want to revive, should I focus on building that channel or create a new one? I would just revive it, unless you're just like totally have no energy for it, and which is like if you have no energy for it and would prefer to start a new one, just start a new one. You're basically starting over anyway. So I mean, if you want to just kind of revive the old one and just take it, whoever's still there, who might still be subscribed and are still engaged and go a different direction with it, you can do that. But I don't think it really matters. It's just whatever you want to do on that one is great. I have decent watch time once people actually click my videos. What can I do in addition to good thumbnails to get people to take a chance and view it? Well, yeah, so you decent watch time once they click, but good titles and thumbnails is what gets people to take a chance and view it. So that sounds to be like the culprit. 2 + 3 is the channel. So that's where I would start. Digital Jedi Master, how do you make time to grow your channel before you have the resources to hire additional staff? Was it a matter of time management or just lots of late nights and lack of sleep? I actually started, like I said, with like a business model on this channel. Previous channels I'd done for fun before did not have a business model around it. It was just AdSense. It was just fun. But this one I knew like what I had. I actually launched this channel, Video Creators, with a product, which was 30 Days to a Better YouTube Channel. And like I didn't create the product first. I actually started with, I want to make this for you guys. And then I launched it as a crowdfunding campaign to see if people would buy it in the first place. And once I reached the crowdfunding goal, which I kind of consider to be my advance, that they're paying me to make this, then I went ahead and made the product. So, yeah, there's a lot that has to happen. But at the beginning, I was like just focusing on the audience growth, but also on how am I going to not only deliver value, but capture value. What's the product? What's the value exchange I'm going to make with my audience? I give them free videos, and they give me a subscription and watch time. And the next level is they give them a free ebook. They give me an email address. Next level is they give me $30, and I give them 30 days to build a YouTube channel. So it's, thinking through that process. Plus, I just dedicated to it. Now, there did become a time when I had to scale, and I didn't have the money to do that. I was juggling like 10 different things all at once, and they were all revenue producing, so I couldn't necessarily put one down, and I couldn't but I couldn't pick up another plate either. I was tapped. I was completely booked. I was completely full. So that's when I kind of made an investment into myself, and I took $3,000 out of savings, which was a lot. Still is a lot, but for back then, it was just me. So we weren't generating the stuff that we do today with the clients and people that we work with. So what we did is I took $3,000 out of savings, and I hired a friend of mine who needed a job, and I said, "Do you know how to edit video?" He said, "No." I said, "Well, go watch these training tutorials on lynda.com, and then come back, and I got $3K for you. I'll give you $1,000 a month to edit my videos." Which he did, and I told him my plan is at the end of these three months, I'm paying you $3,000. I need to generate $9,000 with the money that you freed up in order for this math to make sense. So I had a plan of something I wanted to start, which is today now known as Video Labs. And so I did my very first, I put together, assembled with the time that he freed up, my very first Video Labs thing, and implemented that plus some other things I wanted to do with some brands and sales and things that I did. And what happened is, as soon as, instead of making $9,000 over the course of 3 months with that freed up time, I made $15,000 in just the first month alone. And that's when I realized, that's when I learned a very important business lesson, which is it's far more important for us as creators to work on our business, not instead of in our business. As soon as you guys get trapped with like working in the business and doing all the day-to-day like paper pushing type of stuff, that's when you're going to start getting capped. It's important, like to your point, digital Jedi Master, that you just kind of do it on your own when you're first getting started, but you need to have a plan. When you're doing it, you're not just doing it, but you're putting systems in place, like step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. Even if they're editing your own videos, you need to have systems in place so that you can hire someone to come in and now start following that system. And so whether it's a Google document, or the way I do it is I screen capture myself going through the process several times, write it up as like a bullet point, but someone can now also watch the screen capture recording to fill in any gaps and kind of see how it works as well. And then I give them my raw photos and say, here you go, edit this. And then there's some revisions. I got to work with them on the first, 5, 6 videos, 7 videos. But at first anyway, now Julia has been on my team for about 3, 4 years now, and she does better than I would or have ever done, so that's the key. Like, get people who can do it better than you, but after you train them in. So yeah, it really comes down to the business model and the systems you put in place, and then taking a risk and maybe just taking some money out of savings, but only doing that when you have a strategy for what you're going to do with that freed up time to replace that money and the income. Not just replace it. You're not just asking for more work to manage, but you need, in my opinion, you need to make like around a 50% profit margin. Great if you can do more, but in order to kind of keep it going. So if I pay someone, I don't know. Anyway, it's a little different because some people aren't necessarily revenue producing. Like my admin, for example, she does emails all day for me. But as our team now as a whole, collectively, I see what I pay them, and I need to obviously make more money than what I pay. There's 9 people who work on my team, and I need to pay them I need to make more money than it takes to pay all them, obviously. And that only comes from working on the business and letting them work in the business. And today, it's 9 people on our team, and we just did the math a few weeks ago. Our team, we've helped our clients earn 14 billion views since they started working with us, and 61 million subscribers is what our team has helped our clients do. So it's been awesome, been a fun journey. You guys have a lot of good questions, and I'm going to save a lot of these probably for future content ideas. I got like 5 pages of them here. They keep going up. But what I want you guys to do, like if you're interested and you want to like hang out and talk when there's not as much competition for to get in here. You know, I can see Laura, my producer, saying there's hundreds. She just said in chat, if you asked a question, don't worry, I have it, so no need to re-ask. But there are hundreds, so unfortunately we won't get to all of them, which is exactly it. But when we do a call-in show with my members, which is $4.99 a month, literally, for access to like content I normally charge hundreds of dollars for, and content people paid thousands of dollars to hear me present live at different events and things. You get all that for $5 a month, including then you can just call in and talk to me on the phone. And it's a much smaller audience. There's not hundreds of people watching and engaging. You know, there's a much smaller number, so we can be much more likely to talk and connect there, as well as get all the free training. Well, not free, you guys paid for it, but all the additional training there that you guys get, and access to my behind the scenes posts. I do have a first draft of what the first episode of Creator Stories will look like. That comes out next year, so I'll be posting that for them, because you guys are the ones who are supporting this and making all this possible for people like Laura and I to hang out with you guys. So really do appreciate your support. If you're listening to the audio of this, there's a link in the show notes you can click to become a member of the YouTube channel and get all that behind the scenes access and call-in shows and everything. And for those of you who are watching here on YouTube, there's a link down in the description that you guys can click and watch those as well. So I really appreciate all you guys hanging out with us, and those of you guys who are watching first time on Facebook, welcome. It's good to see you guys here, and this has been a lot of fun. And for those of you guys who are listening to the recording of this, appreciate you guys hanging out as well, and look forward to hanging out with you guys again next week for another video creators live stream. We used to have them every Monday at 2 p.m. Eastern time, and then the podcast goes up on Tuesdays. So look forward to hanging out with you guys then, and we'll see you guys again next week.